اقرأ وخيّا
ورتل القرآن اصبح بصوتك
That environment always existed, and when Somali comes there, they are strong.
I'm originally from Finland, where I lived for 13 years, and I moved here in 2006, and I've lived in Masai in Manchester since then.
Each question I want to ask you, how is it living with two different parents? So one parent is Somali, another parent is Finnish.
For example, take a small surah like Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, and he'd give me the whole surah in English, not in Arabic when I didn't know how to read, and he'd just go memorize it in English, and I'd read him the next day in English. So then when
ما شاء الله.
فإذا وعى القرآن حينا لنا اقرأ وخيّا ورتل القرآن اسمح بصوتك اسمع الأكوان
داوية مالكستا joogtiin iid wanaagsan kuna soo dhawaada barnaamijkeena dhalinyarada maanta oo aad wiil kasta maalinta axadda kala socotiin kanaalka SOMSAT maantana uu qodobkeena yahay xifdiga quraanka gaar ahaan tartanka ka dhacay Dubai oo ahaa Dubai International Quran Competition 2012 maanta waxaa marti noo ah ahmed xalane oo ka hor aan programka ku wareysanay haddana tartanka ka yimid sidoo kale waxaa nala jooga nuur xasan oo magaalada Manchester ka yimid oo quraanka in badan xifday iyo anigoo jibril alayhi salaad oo barnaamijka idin soo daynaya dawayaal iyo martida sharafta leh ku soo dhawaada barnaamijkeena dhalinyarada maanta waayahay Dubai Quran Competition waa tartayaasha ugu quraanka xifdiga ugu daaweyn uguna caansan sanad kasta waxaa ka qayb gala 190 ama tirada intaas u dhow wadan sanad kastana waxaa laga doortaa wadamo ka yar tiradaas sanadkan waxaa laga doortay 88 wadan waxaana cajiib ah inay wadamadaas kamid yihiin dhalinyaro Soomaali oo wadamo badan matalaysa أنا أكون داهين داوية وحين كسر دوينيا برنامج كأحمد حلاني أو ترتكن كقريب قلي أحمد كسر دوي برنامج كان كسر دوي مركهرة سؤال شو قولوا سكوا دين لا وحوية ما حد نوقت عم كرتا واحد لكل أنتي ما كرت ترتك تكتي.
السلام عليكم. أحمد حلاني. السلام عليكم. ترتك there's a lot of things that I've seen in the competition. Anything specific as such or?
Yeah, how did you feel like maka tartanka tagtay, for example, how was it? How is this different from other tartans? Give us just a brief summary.
Yeah, this competition is Dubai is one of the biggest ones in the whole world, the biggest one. Alhamdulillah, I've seen a lot of things, and one of the main things being such a variety of people from different places, whether it be the other side of Africa, some come from South America, so.
ما شاء الله وحنا كقيب قلي ترتن كاس صومالي بدن من وش كنت صومالي كقيب قشيء إن شاء الله أنت إلى كاين سيدي كل عيد
صومالي this year هذه صومالي تضوء بيجاري هذه a number seven competitors Somalis were taking part in this competition this year.
ما شاء الله seven Somalis were competing in the tartan.
Somalis, yeah.
ما شاء الله how does the tartan work? So for example ما marka hore ma waxa isku baxaysa laba wadan isku baxaysa marka hore labadaas wadan quraan ku tartamaysa wadana soo haray ma se just elaborate a little bit on how exactly it works.
Okay, well originally from each country there's one person chosen for the competition. So I was representing Denmark, and the country you're representing goes with your nationality. Alhamdulillah, there was a musabaqa in Denmark, there was a competition in Denmark that I had to participate in, and then the winner from that competition was then sent off to Dubai, and that's the same with each other country itself. So then the person that a certain country chooses for this competition is then sends his application off to Dubai, and if they accept, then this person takes part. And then when you get to obviously Dubai, then there's also another musabaqa just before the actual big one, but I think I'll go into detail of it.
Okay, mashallah. So around seven Somalis represented 7 different countries.
Yeah.
Where were those countries predominantly? Where did they come from?
The Somalis.
Africa,
Wallahi, the Somalis were 7. So From Europe, there were three. Me and one from Denmark. A brother Abbas from UK, and another brother Abdullahi from Finland. So that's from Europe. Us Somalis, we are those three. The other four, one was obviously from our country, Somalia. Another was from Djibouti, but he was originally Somali. And a brother from Qatar, the son of Rashid Ali Sufi, Hafidhahullah. And also a brother from Gabon.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, jazakallah waa mahadsan tahay. Waxaa dhahday dhalinyaro badan ka qayb gashay wadamo badan oo Europe ka yimaadeen. I think wadanka Gabon xataa waa sheegtay MashaAllah. Wadanka Finland waxaa ka yimaaday wiil da'yar. Waxay naga sheegay. MashaAllah.
Yeah, we can say he was 12 years old. MashaAllah, very hard-working child. It was evident in his recitation inside himself, and even the way he performed, taking a good place in the competition. Yes, MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. For a 12-year-old wiil jira 12 sano inuu mataqaana Finland oo dhan soo badiyo asaga noqdo matalaya waa obviously
it's a very big achievement. Yes, MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. Waxaan ku weydiin lahaa tartanka ka hor tartano badan ka qayb gashay. Muxuu laakiin ugu duwanaa tartankan marka Dubai tagtay?
The big difference is the competition. In a sense, from each country, the best is chosen. Do you see what I'm saying? So from Europe, okay, alhamdulillah, our competitions don't exceed more than 10-5. But there are brothers I've been speaking to, for example, the brother from Libya, the brother from Somalia, the brother from Nigeria, that they were competing between over a number of thousand people, 600 people, 800 people, they were competing just to be chosen for Dubai. So hence, the people that are chosen for this competition are, especially in the Muslim world, the best of the best. So hence, the competition in the Musabaqah, the people that you're competing with, it's at a much higher level. So you're humble, inshallah, mashallah.
MashaAllah. And on a personal level,
Yeah.
markaad tagtay meesha maxaa jiib kula noqday markaad tagtay? Waxaas aaday 10 kun oo qof ku daawanayso oo cajiib kula noqday masna. Waxa ku weyn oo cajiib kula noqday.
I think what عجيب يقول the thing that amazed me the most essentially was meeting the actual, just seeing the way they are, these huffaz from different countries, and the fact that the way many of them are busy reciting and their level of recitation and the things that they focus on, things that as students of Quran now in the UK and Europe, things that we don't as such, that we don't emphasize on a lot, and it just shows how detailed they've gone into. So that's one of the ajib things, the things I've seen, things I've learned there, and the way they recite, and something amazing, mashallah.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Waxaan ku weydiin lahaa su'aal oo Soomaali inta u badan waxay isku sheegtaa waxaan nahay Carab ay dhahaan, laakiin hadda waxaan ka hadlayaa Carabta Dubai joogta asalka. Ayaga Soomaalida maadaama ay wadamo badan oo Soomaaliya ka qayb galeen, dhalinyaro badan oo Soomaaliya ku jiraan dadka wadamada oo short list-ka, sabab u arkaan Soomaalida hadda ma isdhahan MashaAllah dadka aan waxay kulli Soomaali waa wadamo badan matalayaan.
صح. هذه عموما generally tartanka waa tartan da' leh. Mar buu Soomaali tartankan qaaday. Dubai Musabaqa, I think maybe 1998 if I'm not mistaken. There was a Somali who took over this competition. So hence, that environment always existed, that when Somali comes, that they are strong competitors. Also, the year before, third, taking a Somali. So, generally, even in the Arab community, they see that Somali nahay, and that Ahlul Quran nahay. They already exist, that environment already existed. So that's why when we asked, you're Somali, yes, they knew that there's some sort of competition there.
MashaAllah.
الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ قول الله سبحانه وتعالى أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله إن الله بما تعملون خبير.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السؤال الأول من قول الله سبحانه: يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن عفي له.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى مرة أخرى.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم.
السؤال الأول: اقرأ من قول الحق تبارك وتعالى: إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يغشي الليل النهار
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يغشي الليل النهار يطلبه حثيثا والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. ادعوا ربكم تضرعا وخفية إنه لا يحب المعتدين ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها وادعوه خوفا وطمعا إن رحمة الله قريب من المحسنين.
السؤال الأول من قول الله سبحانه: هو الذي جعل لكم الليل لتسكنوا فيه والنهار مبصرا إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يسمعون.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم هو الذي جعل لكم الليل لتسكنوا فيه والنهار مبصرا إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يسمعون قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا سبحانه هو الغني له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض إن عندكم من سلطان بهذا أتقولون على الله ما لا تعلمون قل إن الذين يفترون على الله الكذب لا يفلحون متاع في الدنيا ثم إلينا مرجعهم ثم نذيقهم العذاب الشديد بما كانوا يكفرون واتل عليهم نبأ نوح إذ قال لقومه يا قوم إن كان كبر عليكم مقامي وتذكيري بآيات الله إن كان كبر عليكم مقامي وتذكيري بآيات الله فعلى الله توكلت فأجمعوا أمركم وشركاءكم ثم لا يكن أمركم عليكم غمة ثم قضوا إلي ولا تنظرون.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السؤال الأول من قوله تعالى قل من كان عدوا لجبريل فإنه نزله على قلبك بإذن الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قل من كان عدوا لجبريل فإنه نزله على قلبك بإذن الله مصدقا لما بين يديه وهدى وبشرى للمؤمنين. من كان عدوا لله وملائكته ورسله وجبريل وميكال فإن الله عدو للكافرين. ولقد أنزلنا إليك آيات بينات وما يكفر بها إلا الفاسقون. أوكلما عاهدوا عهدا نبذه فريق منهم بل أكثرهم لا يؤمنون. ولما جاءهم رسول من عند الله مصدق لما معهم نبذ فريق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب كتاب الله وراء ظهورهم كأنهم لا يعلمون.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السؤال الأول: كيف يهدي الله قوما كفروا بعد إيمانهم وشهدوا أن الرسول حق وجاءهم البينات؟
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كيف يهدي الله قوما كفروا بعد إيمانهم وشهدوا أن الرسول حق وجاءهم البينات والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. أولئك جزاؤهم أن عليهم لعنة الله والملائكة والناس أجمعين خالدين فيها لا يخفف عنهم العذاب ولا هم ينظرون إلا الذين تابوا من بعد ذلك وأصلحوا فإن الله غفور رحيم.
waxaad ogtihiin axmed inuu asagoo yar lasoo barbaariyey lasoo baray kadibna uu asaga aad u dadaalay oo kadib dugsi mataqaanaa tagay oo qur-aanka aad u dadaalay tartayaashana asaga doortay inuu tartayaasha ka qayb galo laakiin maxaa dhacaya haddii uusan qofka saa kusoo korin asagoo weyn ma isbedeli karaa jidka ku socday ma iska bedeli karaa anigu aan ku daahin waxaan kusoo dhaweynayaa barnaamijka nuur xasan. Nuur, welcome to the program first of all. Second of all, I wanted to ask you just a bit about yourself, just a quick brief summary of yourself and your history.
My name is Nuur Hassan and I'm 19 years old. I'm originally from Finland where I lived for 13 years and I moved here in 2006 and I've lived in Moss Side in Manchester since then. I went high school here and I've just finished my A-levels at college and in September inshallah I'm starting at the University of Leeds and studying engineering inshallah. And yeah, my mother is Finnish and my dad's Somali, so I'm half Finnish, half Somali.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
I've got 5 brothers and 2 sisters, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Thank you very much, Noor. Just an itchy question I wanted to ask you. How is it living with 2 different parents? So one parent is Somali, another parent is Finnish.
In terms of communication, it's a bit problematic because they don't share common language. So my dad and my mum can't speak in Somali, for example. So, for example, when we were living in Finland, my dad had to learn Finnish to communicate with my mother. And then when he came here, you know, what's it called? That's why I never learned Somali because my dad and mum never spoke Somali. My dad and my mother never spoke Somali together, so I couldn't catch it as well. So yeah, and so me and my dad we speak in a bit of mix of everything, a bit of Somali, a bit of English, a bit of Finnish as well. Because yeah.
MashaAllah. Okay, Jazakallah, that's very interesting. Growing up, you faced a lot of difficulties growing up in Finland and also in Manchester. Can you highlight some of the difficulties you faced in Finland with regards to being a Muslim who's also half Finnish, half Somali, and when you came to Manchester, some of the other difficulties that you faced?
In Finland, when I was there at least, the Muslim population there is growing now, but when I was there it was very, very small. And where I was living especially, it wasn't near the town centre, and I was living in Helsinki. There was a few Somalis and a small Somali community, but well, the small area where I was from, my family was like the only Somali family. So the school that I went to as well, there were no other Somali people, or even dark people in general. Like I was the only, me and my brothers were the only, and my sister were only dark people in the school. So that obviously that proposed a challenge, of course, because you know the other kids are not, you know, like in England, these white people, they see different races and different ethnicities, and they're used to it, so it's nothing strange to them. But for the people in Finland, they're not really, it's something strange to them. So they didn't even understand it, and you know, with Islam and stuff, you know, they're not very aware of it, so they can't really understand it.
So did you have issues with, for example, when you hang around with the Somalis, they treat you like Finnish, but when you hang around with the Finnish, they treat you like not fully acceptable?
I didn't really hang around with Somalis because there were not that many Somalis to hang around with, but the Finnish themselves, they I got a lot of bad treatment a lot of the time because of obviously my skin color and my religion. Especially because the religious education there is not very strong, that the children are not very aware and stuff. So it was a bit troublesome in school, got a lot of arguments, you know, a lot of few fights and stuff over that. So yeah, it was a bit tough.
MashaAllah, daawayaal waxaan filayaa inaad si fiican u socotiin. Nuur wuxuu ku soo koray waddanka Finland asagoo yar, hooyadiis waa Finnish, aabihiisna waa Soomaali. Markuu soo korayna wuxuu la kulmay dhib badan, la kulmay waayo dadka wiilasha Finland Finnish-ka ma u arkaan inuu yahay Finnish, wiilasha Soomaalidana 100% inuu Soomaali yahay ma u arkaan. Marka asagoo yar wuxuu la kulmay dhib badan waddanka waliba Finland oo waagaas uu islaamka caanka ahayn. Going back to you again, so when you came to Manchester, what happened?
I came to Manchester, I started high school, and then there I met a lot more Somalis and other Muslims and different like Asians. Mostly the high school that I went to, which was Burnage, was you know, mostly the majority was Asians, were Asians. So I got more introduced to, you know, a different more
background.
More diverse background.
Yeah. So, but when you lived in Manchester, it wasn't all, you know, it wasn't the perfect.
Yeah, it was.
Did you have any difficulties there?
It was very different from Finland. Very different. The mostly called the streets are rougher than in Finland. There's a lot more trouble, you know, and you know, youth hanging out, you know, more gangs and stuff. In Finland, you don't see that as much as, you know, you have gun crime here and you have drugs and stuff. In Finland, that's very rare. The people are more, in general, more calmer than in people in Manchester. So I've seen a lot of things that I've never seen before, and I never, seen young people do.
Were you drawn to that? So when you see a lot of young people going, you know, the wrong way, were you drawn to that when you came?
Initially, no, because when I first came, it was fine. Is when, you know, I got settled in more and stuff. That's, you know, when you meet friends, you make friends. That's when, you know, and especially that age when I came as well, 16. No, I came when I was 13, and then, you know, 14, 15, 16. You know, all the youth are trying different things, and obviously peer pressure is the biggest influence at that age. So it's hard to resist some certain things, and you know, when everyone else is doing it, you kind of get drawn towards it. So it's a bit hard. If you don't have any support from anywhere else, it's kind of hard to avoid it.
MashaAllah. But you went through all the struggles of peer pressure, and MashaAllah, you managed to change. How did you change? So from being someone who was rough on the streets, etc.
There were many bad things that I was involved in, which, you know, I'm not going to go into detail, but it was a bit hard. It took a long time, like especially because everyone deep down want to change and want to do good stuff. But that's the same thing with a lot of people. But because your environment has such a influence over you, it's hard. That's why for you to even try anything else, you have to change the environment that you're in. Once you do that, then it's more easy for you. Because if you're on your own, you know, you're not gonna survive. You need people to help you, and that's the hard thing. If you don't have, you know, if for example, if you want to become more Islamic and stuff, you need to get with the right people, because no matter what you do, eventually, if you're with the wrong crowd, you're gonna end up doing the same stuff that you were doing, or even worse, and nothing's gonna get changed. So it's just about finding the right people to be with. And myself. I always after I started, you know, getting with the wrong people, I wanted to change myself, but every time I tried to do it, like I just said, you go back to what's it called, what you're doing.
One of your friends will give you a call, for example.
Yeah, because then you're bored and you don't have nothing to do. If you don't busy yourself with anything, then that's what's going to happen. Eventually, you're going to go back to do what you were doing. So when I was at college, I became more closer to Ahmed, where he had a very great influence on me. He spoke to me. He knew that some of the things I was doing were not good. So he used to speak to me here and there. He used to tell me to come pray. I'd come with him, but then after that, I'd go with my other friends again. And then until one day I realized that it's never gonna end until I make a complete change and leave those people who do not have anything good to do and stay with Ahmed. Because I've noticed every time I'm with Ahmed or people like him, that people that were doing good things like him, I felt better and I felt like I could do the things that they do as well. It's only when I was on my own and with other people that I felt I couldn't really do anything. So I just thought the most logical and simple conclusion was to go and hang with the better people.
Thank you very much, Noor. I'm gonna come back to. I got a few more questions. I'm just gonna, inshallah, waxaan ku laaban doonaa Ahmed. Aku laaban doonaa Ahmed. Noor, wuxuu dhahay inaad maasha Allah markuu adi isbarateen inaad si fiican u caawisay oo markaa is bedelay. Ma sheegi kartaa inshallah waxaad samaysay sida uga faa'iidaysano?
Noor, masha Allah, siduu kuu sheegay, adiga he was in the wrong crowd, of course, and whatnot. And it's just a simple thing, just I was speaking to him slowly just to compare with me, as he mentioned. But I think there was one of the main things that characteristic of Noor was that he used to like the Quran. So even though he wasn't practicing that much, he would love to listen to the Quran. He always want me to recite to him and always want me to listen. And that's a very important thing. So then all I simply did was I got him involved in the Quran and said, bro, why don't you learn the Quran? Bro, why? It's not that hard and people can do it. And then before you know, he was busy with the Quran. And that's one of the main important things with our youth today. We need to busy them with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And once the person gets busy with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's busy with memorizing the next truth and the next truth and the next truth. They don't have time for anything else. Which is something a bit sad to see today in the sahwa, in the Islamic awakening that's going on amongst the youth, where many youth are practicing now, but many of them neglect one of the things that they need to start off with, which is clear and important memorization of the Quran, learning how to pronounce the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala properly. And as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask them, recite like you used to recite in the world, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will then increase for us where we will live our abode. So hence, whatever sort of we will move on to our next place. So, one of the main things, one of the things that I did, and I think what many others do, is just getting involved in the Quran. As you can see, alhamdulillah, today he's only got a surah left in the whole Quran. I think he'll...
MashaAllah, Jazakallah. That's my next question, actually. Ahmed. My next question is exactly that. He stole a bit of the question from us.
Okay.
How much of the Quran have you learned, memorized?
I'm almost finished. I've got the last surah left and a bit of the...
so you're on the last surah, inshallah, and you memorized everything?
Nearly, yeah.
MashaAllah. And that is amazing, because to take a completely different direction and to then almost memorize the entire Quran. How long did it take you to do this?
Just a bit over 2 years. About 2 years, because I remember 2 Ramadans ago, at this time, I was at the start. So it took about 2 years.
So before 2 years, you didn't know anything about the Quran? You knew little bits?
No, I couldn't even read Fatiha properly. Ahmed told me it's from the basics, from the letters to the proper recitation. And the way the main thing that got me into it was the fact that he used to come to me and he used to give me the English for this was. He used to give me the translation. He used to tell me, for example, he'd take a small surah like Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, and then he'd give me the whole surah in English, not in Arabic when I didn't know how to read, and he'll just go memorize it in English, and I'd read to him the next day in English. So then when he did that, I used to like it, even though I wasn't practicing. I used to like it, yeah. So, and and then that's when I started reading in English. When I started reading Quran in English, that made me want to learn even more, because of course, words of Allah beautiful, and then after that, it kept me busy, alhamdulillah. And then the reason why I got it done is because you had to work hard, because the Quran, it takes a lot of time when you're memorizing it, but it's easy. It just takes a lot of time, and you have to put hard work into it.
How much time-wise, because in 2 years, a very short period, how much time have you put in on a daily basis?
The problem is that a lot of youth, like, they memorize the Quran when they're young, and their parents taught them the Quran when they're young. With me, I had to start when I was doing my A-levels, so I had to, I was struggling when I was doing my A's as well. Your studies take a lot of time of it as well, and I got married as well, so I had double things, and I had my other stuff to do as well. So I had to kind of leave a lot of the activities that I used to do, like what's it called, to give time for the Quran. And yeah, I'd devour a lot of time every day to memorizing it. There's some days, if I'd miss a day, for example, I'd make up the double the next day, because the key with it is the consistency. Well, I'll never, no matter how little I learn a day, I'd make sure it's consistent. So to always keep myself going on, because some people, they learn and then they leave it, and it's this with everything, not just with Quran, even with studies. When you're revising, for example, if you're not revised for a few days, you regret going back to it because there's so much to do, so you don't go back to it. But if you do it every day, it becomes easy, because what's it called, you're in a rhythm, and you're doing it all the time. So it becomes something very easy.
MashaAllah, that's
with everything in life.
That's powerful advice.
That's with everything in life.
Learn a little bit.
Yeah, consistency. And the main thing is sincerity as well. With the Quran, memorizing the Quran is it's a long process, and it requires a lot of time. What a lot of youth do is they when they start practicing stuff, they jump into all these different things, and next minute they've gone away again, and because they don't see what Quran does is it weeds out like the true seeker of knowledge and who really wants to learn. Because in Islam, with everything, whatever you study in life, you go back to the basics when you start from. You don't. That's why before you get involved in big politics and stuff, you should memorize the Quran and stuff and get started on the basics. Alhamdulillah, it keeps you busy, and then when you read it, you realize, when you memorize it, you realize how much it does for you, how much blessings it gives you every day. It organizes your day, your time gets organized, and everything, and it's just, alhamdulillah, it makes you practice a lot more as well.
MashaAllah, Ahmed, Noor, Jazakallah, that was some powerful advice. I think a lot of young people should benefit from that, because a lot of people wonder how to memorize the Quran, but it's the consistency that is the key. It doesn't matter how much you practice, as long as you do the same bits every day, every 2 days, it's consistent.
Half a page is even every day, you memorize the Quran in no time.
MashaAllah. I wanted to ask you another question. So you, inshallah, this time, mashallah, you took the right course. But there's a lot of young people that are still stuck on the old, on the old path. Some of which are your friends, I'm guessing. Do you go back to them and kind of give them the same da'wah that?
That's the thing. I always go back to them, and when they're with me, they won't mind coming to the mosque. They'll pray. They'll do good things. They don't mind. It's not that most people don't like Islam or anything. Is they do it when they were around, like us, going back to my point before that I made with your good company, because Allah commands us to be with people that are true and truthful and good. So same thing with them. When they're with me, they'll pray and they'll listen to my advice. They'll take everything in. Once I leave them, then shaitan and friends come, and and then that's it's boredom mainly. Mainly. That's why again that links to the point of Quran again. Again, if they would busy themselves with something good, like memorization, for example, then they wouldn't. But then, if you have nothing, then you're gonna go back to, because we're human beings.
You mentioned something earlier. You said even for yourself, it's easy to go back to the old ways, but you keep yourself busy.
Yeah, those many.
What are some of the things that you keep yourself busy with?
Of course, because there's so many things that I had to leave when I've changed. So I'm not nothing special. For everyone, it's hard to change. It's just that with each thing, you need to, if you have a habit or something, the only way you can get rid of it is if you change it with another thing, if you replace it with another thing. For example, if you listen to music, a person is not going to stop listening to music, and if it does nothing else, has nothing else to listen to, it's only when, for example, they listen to Quran instead. But they won't listen to Quran because Quran is boring unless you understand what it means, unless you memorize it. If you memorize in the Quran, you like listening to it because that's what you do in your day, and if you know what it means, or even if you read the translation and stuff, it's something interesting. But if someone loves music, the music's in the heart, this is the Quran, they don't like it. But then after you know, you make yourself closer to Quran, you know, and even with, for example, the problem of, you know, women, girlfriends and stuff like that. What Islam doesn't do, it doesn't restrict you, it doesn't, you know, Allah knows, Allah created you, so He knows you the best. So Allah does not want you to, you know, be restricted and not give anything. Allah gives you a more halal option, which is to get married. So people think, okay, now I'm not religious, but you know, I have problems with women, I like women, stuff like that.
Just get married.
Well, just get married. That's Allah gives you another opportunity, and you know, you have to strive. That's with everything, like I was saying. That's with Quran and everything. All your activities, you replace them. Islam gives you another alternative, which is better, but you won't like it until you get into it and you change your whole life. Because, for example, if you're doing all this bad stuff and you know, you pick one part of Islam, you won't like it. But if you change your whole heart and you start from your heart and change it, then the rest will be okay, inshallah. And then slowly you'll see that your whole life changes and you become disattached from things that don't benefit you and don't do nothing for you, only cause damage.
Jazakallah, Noor. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, inshallah.
Daawyaal waad maqasheen Noor, waxaana filayaa insha Allah inaad wax badan tusaale badan ka qaadan doontiin. Hadda waxaan u gudbayaa Ahmed. Ahmed waxaan ku weydiin lahaa wadamada qurbaha waxaa u bedelanay, waxaan dhahnay waxaan u imanaynaa waxbarasho, waxaan u imanaynaa inaan mataqaana shaqaysano, inaan nolol fiican ka helno, laakiin dad badan shaydaankiina meesha nagu sugayaa. Wadamada qurbaha dad badan ku khasaareen. See adiga iskaga ilaalisaa dhalinyarada oo adiga clubid oo kale sometimes, because meesha isku arkaya suuqa marka aad was arkaysiin, insha Allah see waa iskaga ilaalisaa, maxaa kula talin lahayd dhalinyartana?
أولا الرياضة waxaan ku talin lahay inay sida uu sheegay environment ku bedelaan. qofka duu bani aadam yahay, he's like a sheep, so essentially you will follow whatever crowd you're in. It's very important. Prophet ﷺ gave the example to us, where he says the example of a good friend is one who's wearing something that smells nice, perfume, atar. Even if you're not doing what he does, when you leave, a person works with it. Even when you're not doing what he does, when you leave him, you leave with that trait and that smell of this. So this is a simple illustration to us by our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. But we should take this advice. So رجال الله حكوا طلع أصلا إني بدلنا the environment كل جديد. هذين غير صحيح anything like this and start off. And there's there's lots of youth that practice just to be around them. Number two, you know, we'll get is mashghuli. As Muslims and as humans, we need to be busy. I think Noor mentioned this point. We need to make ourselves busy. So you need to make yourself busy with something good, or else you become busy with something bad. So again, illustrating, going back to our same point is, meaning the translation of the Quran and meaning and trying to memorize it, and hence you'll be busy with this and won't have time for anything else. And also carry on with your academic studies, focus on your academic studies, but also make yourself busy, and that's one of the key points to it. So, and of course, we always go through the same thing as they're going through. So I think just advice from us to them, and not that we've mastered this or anything, that we go through the same challenge that they go through daily. And
MashaAllah. Ahmed, Allah mahsan tahay. Haddana waxaan u gudbaynaa Noor. Noor, I'm going to ask you this question. You know, I had a conversation with one of the guys that works at a prison, and he said he was concerned by the growing number of Somalis offending that are in youth offending services. A lot of them are too young to go into prisons, and they go into these basically mini prisons, but they're on the way. They're on the way to somewhere worse. There's also an increase in girls taking part in offending. Where is it going wrong? Where do you think it's going wrong? I mean, we got so many young people that are taking part in the Dubai Quran competition. The whole world knows that, you know, every major Quran competition, Somalis win it basically. Yeah. But at the same time, we got the highest prison population in the UK. Where do you think it's going wrong?
It's obviously linked to lack of practicing Islam. And that's to do with, you know, you have their parents might be practicing, and then their grandparents might be practicing as well. But with each generation, a bit of that, you know, is lost. Yeah. For you, because, you know, it's for the reason being that, for example, if you come to the UK, etc., you know, you might be religious, but then your children won't be religious as you maybe, not in every case, but that's the general thing. And then when their children grow up in this environment, they go to school here and etc., and then they lose a bit of that Islamic inheritance, so to say. and then it keeps going on like that. So that's why that's one cause of Somali youth committing more crime is because the further you get down the line, the less practicing they get, and that's because of their awareness by staying here and etc. Because for example, in countries where they come from, like Somalia, if the environment there is not as bad as here, of course, and everyone can see them. So you don't get this crime and stuff, this gang stuff. It's from, they've got this from these other people that have already been here for a long time. So it's going to carry on, and by the next generation, there's going to be more people, more Somalis going to prison and stuff. So yeah, that's probably the main reasons. And yeah, that's the reasons. But to tackle that problem, because you can get away from it. It's not that you're doomed to become a gangster or an offender. You can get away from it, and it's just what I said before: have a good company, etc. And for the youth, for the women, especially that you mentioned, they should get married, and that will keep them. That will keep them. That will keep them calm, and it'll keep them on. What's it called? It'll help them a lot, because if they're married and they're busy and they're taking care of a family, etc., they won't have time to go running around with knives in the streets. It won't happen.
Thank you very much, Noor. Ahmed, shaki ma ku jira awoodda dhalinyarteena Dubai tagtay hadda mataqaana adduunka dhan wuu yaaban yahay dhalinyarteena si dhinac hadii laga eego waxa weeye dhalinyarta adduunka u fiican dhinaca kalena hadii laga eego Ingiriiska iyo wadamadan iyo waxa la dhahay xabsiyaashii buuxaan hadda gabdho badan hadda lagu sheegay inay xabsiyaasha u socdaan 17 18 badan baa xabsiyaasha galaya maxay ku tahay dhibaatadan keentay why is this suddenly how can we be so u noqon karnaa the best the worst at the same time so u noqon karnaa
I think one of the waxyaabaha waaweyn waxaa waye xiriirka waalidka iyo ilmaha waa muhiim jiddan waalidka aslan waalidinta Soomaalidu waa waalidiinta maasha Allah fiican waa inay ku dadaalaan inay kow ilmahooda u duceeyaan waa dhif inaad aragti waalid cunigiis gacmaha u taagay u duceynayo ducada adagta iyo aabaheen Ibrahim عليه الصلاة والسلام مثال ونسي ويلكيس إسماعيل بأدعي جري وهذا هو المهم إن والدك كو المهم أدعي أن ولاية يعني هذا جدك وحساس صعبة أريد طلعات نمبر 2 والدك إنما إني somehow communication إني بديان هذا اللغة بقى ما حنا يلا كو عندك إني والدك try قريان إن عوني كمان بيروح هدلان أما صورنا ويسدان إيه كوكان قايلين أما صورنا ويسدان كنا محاكوا هاي نشأ كيسنا ويلك قبلنا محاهايو حيوان دي سيدا كلام نقطة مركز على واحد باقي دي واحد باص ميسي والدك عباية هوايده وكفى قانا وإحنا مو شيء قايل ما شاء الله عموما والدين الصوماليين وكده ده أنت وحس والدين صوماليين وإحنا مو شيء يعني من هذه example عن يعني أنت سدحات المها وقت بدني وبهي والدك وين المها وقت سيان هذه ما له ذا يعني نحن let's go somewhere let's go do this be involved with the children وحبضني وبهي
رأيتك معنا كذا
ها أما قول كين قلنا ما كمبيوتر لأن الكمبيوتر دي قلنا ما تريد دي وحكي له بيعركها يعني سبحان والدك إني المها اسكو حيران وكذلك المها إني والدك وصبران
أحمد هذا أمها سنتهي so إن شاء الله going back to Noor you're now on TV.
Yeah.
And it's Eid, inshallah.
Yeah.
Who would you just like to greet? One of your friends, maybe say hello to them.
Just didn't work to all Muslims in general, all Somalis and others, and all my family as well. Eid Mubarak to everyone.
MashaAllah. Noor wuxuu salaamayaa muslimiinta dhan Soomaalida dhan wuxuuna ku dhahay Eid wanaagsan. Sidoo kale Ahmed waxaa ku siinaynaa fursad inshallah aad qofka ku salaantid. Soo dhawaad yaa salaam lahayd.
Soomaalida ku dhaqan waddanka UK iyo kuwaan ku dhaqan Soomaaliyeed walaayadka ulka dhalashay ilaahay xafiis Soomaalida baarak Allah amiin ma sha Allah hadda waxaan maleynaa insha Allah dhamaadkii barnaamijkeena hadda adiina rabin in wax ku dirtiin would you like to add anything to the program to the end القرآن لازما هذا هو المهم كتاب إلهي لازما المها كتاب إلهي كبر ماريا وهذا مهم جدا القرآن قول يا قرآن أكو صعود واحد بدل كتاب كاس إلهي هل لازمه. And that's my advice for me. And to myself, of course.
daawayaal aad u mahadsantihiin hadda waxay imanay dhammaadkii programkeena insha allah waxaad nala socodsiin kanaalka SOMSAT waqtigan ilaa intaas iyo inta dabo kulmi doono waxaan kaga tegaynaa assalaamu calaykum
اصبح بصوتك اسمع الأكوان اقرأ كلام الله داوي نفوسنا لنحس في أعماقنا الإيمان